So this is going to be a quick video about the file naming convention. Before we get into working with different commands and all, let's try to understand how we can name the files in a Linux system. So few things to understand is the length of the file name is determined by your file system that you're using. Now, in most of the common cases, you will be using ext4, b3fs, xfs something, or most commonly we are going to be using ext4. So your file length is restricted to 255 characters, which includes dot and other things like you're conventionally used to something called as a file extension, everything. So that is going to be maximum to 55 characters. And if you talk about the full path length, it's going to be around 4096 characters. So whenever you are saving your files, don't make them very lengthy. 255 characters are more than enough to describe what your file is. Now the other thing is, in Linux type of systems there is no concept of extensions of the file name. So like people are used to .txt, .doc, .com, .exe. These kind of things are not there. The file is identified by the content of the file. So what we mean by that is, like, if you open a terminal over here, I will just run a command called as file, which can identify a file. Okay, so let's say ls. If I say a file, so you might say that adduser.conf is a configuration file, but what we do is that it tells that it's a ASCII text. So the system goes into the file and tries to find out the what kind of file it is. Like if I say file slash bin slash ls, so it will tell me that it's a executable file or something. Similarly, if we have any image, mp3 or any other file, it will try to find out the content based on the type of file, and it will tell you what file it is. Now the extensions as such are not there, so the file name is the complete name. So whenever you have to refer to a file, you will have to refer to a file with its complete name. This is the complete name of the file. Now what we do here is to make users life easier, or for you to understand that what kind of file this is or what kind of content it is carrying. We usually add the last few characters ending with a dot and the traditional extensions like jpg, mp3 or something. It makes it easier for you to understand what type of file it is. Apart from that, the graphical user interfaces and your file managers, they also sometimes use the last few characters after the dot, after the last dot. 2 3 4 characters what are there, they use it to make the association between that file and the related application with which it can be opened. Fine. So generally we use the last few characters to represent the file extension, though keep in mind it's not the file extension. So whenever you have to refer to the file, you'll have to refer it with the full name. File names are case sensitive, which we have seen in many examples. So anywhere uppercase lowercase differences there, files will be treated differently. Fine. So I can have a desktop with capital D and I can have a desktop with small d. Those two will be treated in a different manner. Coming to the other points which I have taken down is that what are the valid characters. So the valid characters are all the characters that are there in your keyboard, a b c d alphabets. You can use uppercase, lowercase, and you can use spaces in the file name. You can use underscore. In fact, all these common special characters can be used in the file names, but as a suggestion I would say that you avoid using things like plus, tilde symbol, parenthesis, brackets, comma, exclamation mark, dollar symbol, and these. You could use hyphen, you could use underscore and dots for your file names. Fine. These, if used in the file names, can give you problem while accessing or while writing shell scripts and all. Even spaces in file names should be avoided. Fine. So if you want to be a good administrator, either use hyphens or preferably underscores in the file name. Some people suggest that you can avoid hyphens also, so preferably use underscores in the file names. So avoid using special characters except for underscore, hyphen and periods in your file names. Others sometimes are automatically added, which you don't have to worry about, but from your side when you are saving the files, do not use these characters. You have enough of alphabets and numbers to represent your file names. Fine. So those are the few important aspects of our file names and the so-called concept of extensions in the file names. So keep the extensions or keep your file names with ending dot and few characters to identify what kind of file it is when you are working on the command line. On the command lines, programs usually won't add the extensions. The graphical programs, whatever file name you give, they will add the remaining characters into the file name so as to represent the extensions. So that's a basic overview of the file names, what you should keep, and how you can avoid the unwanted characters so that your life is easier. Fine. So that's it. We'll continue our discussion further in next video.